Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. Thank you so much for making time and space in your day today to receive these messages. So we have a big week in the astrology, just like a lot of other weeks, except for this one definitely carries with it a very unique calling card, and there is a lot going on. So we're just going to jump right into it. I'm bringing you this report on September 26th, and that is Pacific West Coast. So I'll use all Pacific West Coast times. We started out this morning, September 26th, with the moon in a trine to Mars. Mars is definitely our warrior spirit and a little more of that fiery energy. Mars is a hot ticket this week in general because we are working up towards the full moon on September 29th. That is the Aries full moon. So Mars is the planetary ruler of the energy for the week, really, and definitely for that full moon that will be approaching and moving into building up energetically towards for the week. But the moon represents our mood. And the moon is going through a lot of interactions this week with a lot of different planets. So starting out this morning in a trine with Mars, a trine is a fast moving energy. A trine is when they are in the wheel. You've got an actual trine, which is you make a triangle like that, and there's 3 points. And so two of those points are making a trine, right? That angle between the two of them. And the trine is a fast-moving energy. And so our mood is going to fastly move along with Mars and be accepting of some of that more fiery energy. This is like where we could feel like being argumentative, or if we feel like we're just kind of wanting to fight for something, that's definitely that fiery Mars energy. And around the same time this morning, which this is really early in the morning, but it's like this is what we're waking up to on Tuesday, the 26th. And then the moon's in an opposition with Venus soon after. So Mars and Venus are the cosmic lovers, and they are in a little bit of they're in like a little bit of a combative energy this week. We'll just say the moon moving through basically aspects with both of them that are challenging them. And the fact that Mars and Venus themselves are in a little bit of a tough energy. The moon, the mood, is joining around that. And we're getting feelings around all of this. So Venus is in an opposition with the moon right around the same time that Mars is in that trine. This is just creating different feelings, moving in different directions. Mars being the masculine energy, Venus being the feminine energy. So in relationships this week, we have a lot of combative energy, and we have a lot of emotion and a lot of feelings around relationships and our feelings around that. So also this morning, we had a square, the moon squared Uranus soon after. Mars and Venus had this interaction. And so this is sort of a blindsiding energy. Like Uranus represents something that could have suddenly sort of happened. And so it's like, boom, something happened and kind of took me off guard. All those things we woke up to today. And then we look forward to the moon moving into Pisces later today, about 5:20 p.m. And this is going to bring even more emotion in, as Pisces is that watery, emotional, sensitive sign. And so this morning we're feeling tough energies, but as the evening goes on, we actually get more emotional energy, and we get more sort of this heavy feeling with the Pisces moon. And then the moon comes into a conjunction and meets up with the planet of Saturn. Saturn is a bit of a colder energy. So we have this very emotional, distraught, kind of tough, irritable, fighty, nervous, moody, vibe today. And then we kind of get hit with this sense of like responsibility later, and things could feel a little heavy because of that. Our commitments and things that we are directing our energy towards in terms of what we are ambitious about, and like our goals and our career and things like that could sort of come into play later tonight. Or we could just be needing to create some healthy boundaries to deal with sort of some of this tough, emotional, even depressive energy that's sort of been taking the stage on September 26th. And we move into September 27th with this energy rolling in through the morning, because we don't have another planetary alignment that's going to steal the energy away from that until 3:30 in the afternoon on September 27th. And so that toughness of the mood and the depression from the day before could sort of roll into Wednesday morning until about 3:30 in the afternoon, when Mercury makes a quincunx with Chiron. And then this is going to be sort of stealing our mental energy away, because Mercury is the planet of our mind. And so if we are sort of intellectually getting caught up in trying to understand and figure out our emotions and, try and make them logical and make them make sense, well, it doesn't always work all the time. But maybe by the time that we come into the afternoon, Mercury takes a little bit of a tough interaction with Chiron, but Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron wants to heal. Chiron wants us to find healing. And so there is healing available, even though a quincunx 5 signs apart can be in itself a little irritable. So it might not be the answer that we're looking for, and it might be a little bit irritating and annoying, but something is going to take place on Wednesday afternoon that is going to be a bit of a healing, hopefully, from some of the strong emotions that are surrounding the day. And then later in the evening on Wednesday, more Mercury and mind action. We have the moon making an opposition to Mercury. And this is going to put our emotions and our mood, the moon, on one side, and our mind and our intellect and our mental power, Mercury, on the other side. And this is going to be an opportunity to kind of separate those two things. And this can be good, I think, because when we're too caught up in our emotions, things can go one way. When we're too caught up in our intellect, hopefully this comes to a nice balancing point when our emotions and our mood get really to one side, and our intellect, maybe this will be an opportunity to sort of dive into some type of, Libra season balance, hopefully, within this high emotional moment. Moving to Thursday, September 28th. And this is another day of just more lunar activity. When we have lunar activity, and a lot of it, we can go through a lot of different emotional states. We can go through a lot of different moods. And so Thursday, another busy day, the moon in the early morning, 5:30 a.m., making a sextile with the planet of Uranus. And this is the planet of change. This is the planet of awakening. And a sextile is a really nice, this is a 60 degree, they're 60 degrees apart, the moon and Uranus in a sextile. That's what that is. And it's a friendly, sort of walking hand in hand more of an aspect. And this can make things be a little more easier. So our mood is allowing in these changes a little more starting Thursday morning. So some of these things that might have sort of blindsided us the last couple of days, not really knowing where some of these feelings and emotions are coming from, and that they're really taking over, that we have sort of a little bit of a moment, a reawakening on Thursday morning regarding our mood mood and our emotional state. And this will come at a good time because the moon then makes a conjunction with the planet of Neptune at 10:55 a.m. And this is where we dream. Neptune is all about unconditional love and dreams and hopes and desires and plans for the future and putting things out into the collective consciousness. This is a very spiritual energy, the energy of the planet of Neptune. So we really dive into our hopes, our dreams, our desires. And because of this interaction with Uranus this morning too, we're wanting something new. We're dreaming big and we're dreaming of something new that we can bring in. There are definitely still lots of sensitivities and those emotions of the Pisces moon in play. Neptune is at 26 degrees of Pisces. So that conjunction the moon makes with Neptune is like the high point of that. And that hopefully is a time where we can engage with our spiritual selves and come to a real, true, kind of spiritual understanding for what we've just gone through the past few days, being in this heightened state of emotion and sensitivity. What has that been all about? What has been coming up? These things don't just come up for no reason. This is these energies that come up and present themselves to us are energies that are wanting our attention and that are wanting healing and that are wanting us to put our heart and our mind into. And so the messages that have been coming up through the time with the moon in Pisces, since Pisces is a very spiritual sign, these are messages from spirit. So all these things that have taken place within relationships and a little bit of drama there within relationships between Venus and Mars, this is all building, and the moon is going to move out of Pisces into Aries on Thursday, the 28th of September at 5:15 in the evening. And so this is going to change the mood definitely. By Thursday evening, the mood has fully moved into Aries, and we are looking towards the full moon, which takes place on the Pacific West Coast Friday morning, the September 29th at 2:57 a.m. And this full moon happens at 6 degrees of Aries. So look in your chart. 6 degrees of Aries, your own natal birth chart holds the answers for you for where these events and what these things are going to sort of trigger in your life. Look at your own birth chart at 6 degrees of Aries. Which house is that in? That is going to be the area of life where this full moon is like asking you to focus on. And so this day is going to be a huge day for new beginnings. This is also, I say new beginnings because Aries is this first sign of the zodiac, so always wants to start new things whenever we have Aries energy. But there is a little bit of a special caveat to this Aries full moon in the fact that we had two very special Aries new moons back in March and April of this year. If you can remember back to March 21st, we had a new moon in Aries. And then April 19th, we had a second new moon in Aries. And these are special moments. These are rare when things line up just right that we get double new moons or full moons in a sign. And these new moons are opportunities to start things new. And as I just said, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and always wants to start new things. So these new moons back on March 21st of 2023, April 19th of 2023, you started new things back around that time. If we can think back to that time, this now 6 months later, we've reached the culmination point, the full moon in Aries. And this is the culmination point for those new moon points. Every 6 months, we kind of get to recheck in. We check in on things that we started, back around those new moons. So what was it that you started back then? This is a culmination point for those things that you started. And so again, 6 degrees of Aries is where our full moon is on September 29th. And this carries with it another big energy, which is the third and final square between Venus and Uranus. And you can see how this week has themes coming through. Venus, definitely very involved. That's why relationships and money are on the ticket this week, and also trust and value systems. And Venus represents everything beautiful and sensual and pleasurable in our lives. But Venus has been on a deep, deep dive in the underworld, and she has returned. She's moving direct. She's not in her retrograde anymore, but she still is in her retrograde shadow, and she is still making these changes that she knows need to be made, and she is still going through realizations from that retrograde time as we are still moving through the third pass. So we have our third and final square during this little pass with Venus and Uranus. And so something else really surprising could take place during this full moon time. And it very much is going to be relating to what our Venus retrograde has been about. Venus retrograde was in Leo. And this, the sign of Leo, I want to say 28 to 12. 12 to 28 degrees is where she did her retrograde in Leo. And so that is where our Venus energy is really focusing right now. And any one of these shocking events that may take place, as Uranus is the planet of shocks and awakenings and electricity and lightning bolts. And so we could get some realization about a change that really needs to be made in regards to relationships, love, money, our value system. This is going to be tied into the last 2 passes that Venus had made with the planet of Uranus. The first one was on July 2nd. The second one was on August 9th. So if you can think back, if there are some themes that are running through for you that started July 2nd, got hit on again around August 9th, that this September 29th point is going to be the third pass for Venus over the planet of Uranus, and she's going to come to some awakening, some realization, some part of relationship dynamics, love dynamics. This is going to be a very initiating energy. Again, this is like Aries, Leo, fiery energy. This is like we want to make stuff happen. Uranus wants change. Uranus wants awakening. So this is very exciting. Look for that. Where is this surprising thing, taking place for you during this full moon? And we still have more to the week. September 30th is another big lunar day, but also is another day where there could just be more surprises. The moon starts out the morning in an opposition with Mars. Mars is that warrior spirit. So we're separating, that warrior energy and our mood. And sometimes, this can be a little disorienting. We don't know, why we're taking action when the moon is in an opposition, because it's like, it's so far away from each other, we can be a little disconnected. And then again, because Mars and Venus are so close together, the moon makes a trine with Venus just an hour and a half after this opposition with Mars. And this is bringing in a little bit of love, because Venus is the planet of love, and a trine with the moon is always bringing in a little bit of loving mood to the situation. So that's kind of what we wake up to. Another interaction with Mars and Venus on the morning of the 30th. And then Mercury making a trine with Uranus. This is where we get some mental clarity. This is where we get that electric lightning bolt into our intellect, into our mind, and we come to some mental realization. Then the moon has a square with Pluto, which is a tough energy. This is like an ending. This is like a transformation. Maybe something about the morning, has made us realize some other little transformation that needs to take place, some other way that we can work with the this Venus Uranus square that is still going to be in play. What are these essential changes that need to be made? And then later in the evening, the moon will move into Taurus on September 30th. And this is going to be really nice. It's going to be grounding. Taurus is an earth sign. And so we will be finally out of that hot Aries full moon energy with the moon. And we will be in a grounded, more slower state. So we can slow things down a little bit. Mars then has this really annoying quincunx with Uranus in the evening time. This could be like just another fated moment where something spontaneous really could take place in a physical format when you have this type of Mars-Uranus interaction. And Sunday, October 1st, beginning our month of October, the moon just has one conjunction with Jupiter that day. And this is going to be where things become big. We can really see things blow up when it comes to Jupiter energy. And so moving into Monday, there is right in the morning this is Mercury making an opposition to Neptune. And this is where we have sort of a balancing effect between our mind and the dreams. And hopefully this will bring together, everything for the week, that we can really start to integrate the mind with the dreams that we have and how we're wanting to move forward in our life, and how we can start to really truly integrate the lessons from Venus retrograde and move through this week knowing that there are big emotional times, and there are big times to dream, and there are big times to fight. And this week has a little bit of it all, and it's an all passing energy. This too shall pass, and we will be chatting about more energy moving into October next week here in the Cosmic Community. And I appreciate you being tuned in. Do take care of yourself this week. It is a big full moon, big energy, could be showing within yourselves, other people, situations around you. So take care of yourself. Take care of others around you. If you need to get a hold of me, you can do so at the Cosmic Community at kpov.org. And I hope you have a lovely week, and I will chat with you next week. Thank you. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.